Hello, everyone. I'll be summarizing the key points and classroom applications from the article Sequence Text Structure Intervention During Interactive Book Reading of Expository Picture Books with Preschool Children with Language Impairment by Allison Bright Smith and colleagues. Uh, some of the high points of the article. This study was conducted by Allison Bright Smith and colleagues. It was done in two preschool classrooms. There were two early childhood teachers and two speech language pathologists that conducted the study with six preschool children, three in each class. They read uh, nonfiction books to the students three times a week each week. And for the first 5 weeks, they read um, sequence text structure. So first, next, then, last, finally, that type sentence structure. Week 6, they did compare contrast text. Week 7, cause and effect. And then week 8, they did all three. And they led small group sessions with those students for 8 weeks. The focus was mainly on teaching sequence words. So 5 weeks of the 8 week study, they taught the sequence words. Um, the teachers improved their language building strategies, and the students in the study made strong gains in understanding sequence and their vocabulary knowledge and their overall science knowledge. They primarily used science texts, mainly plants, because of the sequence text structure. Um, Science typically has a lot of texts that are made for that, like the life cycle of a butterfly and how plants grow. And so they used those primarily in the study. Some of the key takeaways from the article: the children had improved recall, um, enhanced vocabulary, they had increased engagement. Um, During the study, the teachers would, and the teachers and the speech language pathologist would set the purpose. They would tell the students why they were doing what they were about to do, why they were doing it. They would read the story, and then once they had read the story, they would have some other type of activity, like the teacher may model for the students filling out a graphic organizer, um, or have the students dramatize the steps of the plant growing process. So doing that over and over helped them to be able to recall the facts better. Again, model sequencing was one of the important things that helped the students to retain knowledge. And that's a recommendation in the article for sequencing skills for educators. They can apply the research by using that during uh, all all reading, but reading nonfiction read alouds. Emphasize sequence signal words like first, next, then, finally. Use language facilitation strategies like repetition, modeling, um, picture cards, visual aids, guided practice. Graphic organizers are good. You can, once you teach the steps, leave a step out and see if the student can recall what one is missing. Connect the topics to real world applications. And for parents, for interactive reading, read aloud with your child regularly, often. And when you do read the nonfiction stories, discuss the story order, ask questions that will make them um, have to inference, um, ask sequencing questions, things that promote critical thinking skills and comprehension skills. Ask, like, what happens next? Why did that happen? Do hands-on activities, like for a science activity. For the science nonfiction books, they were reading about plants, plant seeds, and let them watch the plant grow. All of those would be really good activities to do that would um, further their knowledge, further their learning, and help them to be engaged. Uh, the study, it was a very small study. There were only 6 students, but they did have a lot of growth. The raw scale score for the students pre-test was 25.83 points, and post-test their raw score was 47.5. So even though it was a small group in the study, that's a huge gain in 8 weeks. And I think that repetition that would work for any students with language uh, problems, but also any student. So I thought this was a very informative article, and I enjoyed reading it. Thank you for listening.